This is your weekend market recap for Friday, March 11th, 2022. Let's go. This is Dan Max at EXP Realty, aka the Trading Agent, and this is my stock, Bitcoin, gold, and silver daily market recaps. Please subscribe if you like what you see. Thank you. This is Dan Max at EXP Realty, aka the Trading Agent, and this is your weekend market recap for Friday, March 11th, 2022. Let's get into it. Expecting this to be a little longer as we review a lot of the weekly charts and just go over what's going on in the markets. Again, I've been kind of bearish in the sense that I don't think we're breaking the downtrends in a lot of the markets, as you'll see as we get into the charts. However, the Feds meet next week, so a lot of the market probably goes sideways to choppy. Some things will probably go down, some things will just hold flat, but at this point, the market is not going to be making big moves unless some news comes that's out of nowhere, or it'll be waiting for the Fed. So keep in mind that, because if you're aware of what's going on, I can pull that up real quick through briefing.com. You can see we got some information that's the next week is going to be pretty important. Let me just click in, log in real quick. Care to continue. So if you look at the calendar, economically, here's the CPI came in about where they expected, but next week is where you get the balls to the wall. PPI is going to come in, it's probably going to come in hot. That's Tuesday, but here are the FOMC rate decision, and they're expecting to raise a quarter point. I mean, who knows what they're actually going to do? But at this point, it's already baked in. We'll talk about the TLT, but hopefully if you're you have questions, stop by the Discord room, slap a like on this while you're thinking about it. I really appreciate it. And yeah, subscribe. There's always a lot of stuff going on. And so on that note, if you're also not following on Twitter, drop a lot of insight as I see the markets during the day. Talked about a lot of different stocks today in general. And again, Discord room always needed. Come on by, link is in the description below. Let's do this. Bitcoin, we identified the bottom here at 34,000 area. We talked about hitting the volume at price zone up near the highs, and then it backed off and it came back down to retest the lows. As you can see, it's a little bit of a sloppy chart. Typically I don't keep it clean. I like to see as many things as possible. We have broken the downtrend, but that doesn't necessarily mean we're going higher. It looks like a big chop zone. So at this point, to confirm upside in Bitcoin to be bullish, you really need to get over 45,000. If not, it could chop around from 45 to 35. It's in a big range. It just is what it is. I don't have a real good outlook on it at this moment, other than if you zoom out, you can see that we have a double top, but you also have, this low. Could it retest 30,000? Well, at this point, if you're not going higher, you should be going somewhere. And at some point, that could be in the play, 30,000. However, if you bought at 35,000 like we recommended, you traded it, and you maintained your positions, just have a plan. Just have a plan. Don't sit there with your dick in your hand and don't do anything if the market decides to pull back on you. All right, TLT. I talked about this. Hit the 50-day. It needed to get over it. Backed off. And then it got right back to the lows. Now, if you are a market bear, you want to see the TLT sell off more. At this point, it's really tough to say because you've got some major support here from the past on the left side of the charts. You go zoom out on the weekly, you can see this area is support. Let me just make it very obvious and clear. You can see it all the way. It's been slashed, like 2019. This level is held. This level's held for a long time. Right now, it's flipping a coin whether it's going to break or not. The Feds have been pretty good at maintaining low rates. We'll see if they do it. Zadala, Megahala. We talked about this when it was holding the 100-day. If it held, it'd probably go to channel high. Then it went to the fib. You can see this area in the mid 26s is resistance from the past. Man, this thing goes back way. It's probably cleaner on the monthly. No, it's not showing there, but you can see this is going to be a resistance just in general. This whole 26 to 27 range. And this is the monthly. This is why we do the monthly on, and the weekly on the weekends, just to really zoom out. I apologize that the daily is just not that clean, but it just is what it is at this point. Hopefully you're paying attention. That's a fib to watch. the market is going to do what it's going to do. Let's get into VIX. So we talked about this 31 level being pretty important. And we talked also about the 20-day was in play. Well, we hit the 20-day earlier. I talked about that on Twitter and in the Discord room, and then it bounced back. Is anyone surprised the VIX closed closer to the highs going to a weekend with Ukraine, Russia issues not resolved? I'm not at all. So, I mean, you could have shorted the market. That's what it is, you know. And again, keep in mind, and as we're going through this, I keep telling people, like, notice what's getting slammed and what is not dropping or is holding flat. Just keep that in mind. The SPYs, again, we talked about this. It couldn't get over the 20-day here. It got back down near the lows, and until it breaks the downtrend with volume. I know the volume, this is possible too. You can do these like segmented downtrends where it's like a double the potential kind of layout. I would say at this point, better be late than sorry here, because this could continue going lower. Now again, let's look at the monthly. I've said the 20-month, and this is where it's seeming very much more likely to happen, is the 20-month. That seems very likely. Again, it's a little lower than the previous low, and at that point, I would watch it. I would watch that pretty closely. Now, I said I'm not really a bull, but I'm also feeling a little more bearish, because what do you see here? Lower highs and lower lows. This kind of is a little bit of a quandary here, because this is a higher low, but you definitely are not making higher highs. So this is where you create, like, you can see a little bit of a pennant potential forming here. And when and it's just, well, the action is going to narrow down, and if it breaks below, it probably goes down to the 4. I mean, let me just draw it on all the charts to apply it. You can see it better. I mean, it probably gets down to this trend line here. And if that's the case, then it better hold. And you can see it now right here. It's right in this area, 408. Now, again, if it gets lower, would you be surprised if the higher VIX brings it? Oh, God, it's so messy, some of these charts. Does it surprise you if the higher VIX that we could go even below that? Maybe you go back to one of these older fibs, the 1618. I mean, is it possible you hit the 397 to 400 range? You bet your sweet ass. Yes, of course, that's totally possible. QQQ, again, I'm not really bullish on it. It's been totally crap. You get the 20-day channel high. This thing looks a lot worse, because it has broken the 20-month. And again, I don't want to seem too bearish when I should or shouldn't be, but at this point, the bears are winning. You're going to get a test with the feds next week. It just seems very logical. Whatever they say or whatever they don't say, the market's going to shake out some of these buyers down here. And if it ends up going lower and it continues the downtrend, just be aware you own the right stuff. IWM, we traded this one. I've still got a little bit left on it. I'm not really that excited about my ownership of what's left. At this point, it's just to keep an eye on it. I have suspicions that the trend will hold. We are below the 20-month. Keep in mind, the weekly is the 100-week. I think it's going to hold, but I have been wrong before. I will be wrong again, and I will have stops that do their job. Let's just get into it, because gold, this is the one I talked about this morning. Hopefully people are paying attention. We talked about this range here, the old trend highs, 183. If you look at the 183 level from the past, way back, time machine, you can see, let me just add a little box here, because it's very clear once you do the box. This level is going to be important. I talked about earlier in the week when everyone was getting bullish. Do not be surprised when the market pulls back in front of the feds, because the feds, that's just the nature of the beast. I mean, if this is raging into the highs, then it's going to get attention, and maybe it's due to pull back. But if the feds don't really care and gold's not really doing too much, they won't talk about it. Silver, same kind of thing. Hopefully you're not freaking out. We talked about retesting this little, again, I don't draw on these charts like I do with my other ones. Watch this area. I mean, it's like the channel high. That's basically what it is. I know people go, well, what is this day? And it's like, well, that day looks more like a you know, a break out of the channel and right back into it. That's what it's looking like to me. At this point, we always have to go to the monthly, and you can see we're breaking the monthly downtrend. I'd like to see a little more volume, but monthlies break trends, they should go in your favor. The trend is your friend. Let's pull into the leadership groups of materials and miners. AEM holding up really well. And again, now notice as we go through these stocks and we talk about some of the tech names, you're going to see that they look nothing like these names making new highs off the lows. That is relative strength. That is showing you need to be owning relative strength. It's just like entering the tech bubble. If you own commodities, they did dog shit. Just that simple. AG, same thing. If you were buying it down here, you bought here on the retest of the 20 and 50 day cross. If you bought the breakout of 12, I mean, at any point, again, when the market rewards you for buying, and you're right. It's just not that hard. I mean, I don't know why people overthink it. I mean, they don't know how to identify anything, so they add to losers versus winners. Like the market's adding to winner. PAAS is very similar, simple situation. Like this downtrend is in play. If it can break over it, I think you can rock. Oh, I forgot to do GDX and GDXJ. I apologize. GDX, again, we look at the monthly. You are breaking the downtrend. We're up at the highs. Keep in mind, this is the old highs from the last couple of years. As you can see right here, this 40 area is going to be resistance. GDXJ, again, if you would have bought Nugget when we were buying it down in the 40s, you're happy because Nugget's in the 70s. That just called the winning. GDXJ is back over the 2021 highs. It looks okay. Again, it's not as clean as the GDX. We're at the 20-month monthly breakdown. I'd like to see this go. But again, relative strength. Let's talk about X today because I sold some today. I wrote some covered calls. It literally hit my trend line perfectly. I did not draw this today. Hopefully you're recognizing that because it comes from this. This is the monthly downtrend. Notice we can never close above this trend line. I don't think March is going to close above it. I could be wrong, but keep in mind you have a nice double bottom. You have been consolidating. The 200 month might be in play. Now, when someone goes, oh, you sold some, why didn't you sell it all? Well, maybe that 200 month is in play, but keep in mind, we were buying at 18 to 20 range. That's a solid run. And if you don't know the math, bust out your calculator and you just put 13 or 14 over your entry price, of 18 to 20, and you do the math. That's a nice return since in a month and change. That's relative strength. Again, let's keep digging into our relative strength names. VALE, we've talked about this since November. As the market peaked, VALE is making higher highs and higher lows. It did blow off a little bit, but look what it hit. It held the fib. Watch the 20-day. 20 days is your friend. It does not close below it. If you get to the 20-day, it's typically a buy. At this point, it's showing AKA relative strength. CCJ broke the downtrend back near the highs. Let's call it what it is. I mean, I don't mind it hanging out up here. It has to. I mean, it just went from 18 to 28. It's going to take a breather. Keep in mind, again, the monthly chart, this thing has been consolidating. You see, this is the volume at price zone right here. We're over that. That's great news if you're a bull, because now all those people who sold down here below are wrong. And so the next resistance is going to be up in the 30s. I don't know. Sometimes it's just that simple. Let's get into tech. The rec that is tech. AMD said leave it alone. Oh, that's the monthly. Yeah, that's not pretty either. This thing is just, I mean, head and shoulders top, hit the channel highs and failed, making the down channel. I mean, you could buy it, I guess, at 100, but you are playing with a fire. I don't necessarily believe that this is really a good buy down here. I mean, again, even if the market pops, how much does it pop? I don't know, but I like materials. They're acting way better. And when relative strength matters, it's relative. You just don't mess around. Don't bounce around. Same thing with Apple. Notice again, compared to like VALE, CCJ, X, the miners, gold, silver, they're all lower left, upper right. These are all now upper left, lower right directioning. And at this point, I thought we might get to the channel high, but we're not. I mean, keep in mind, Apple has been a absolute monster. If you bought this thing and it went on this monster run and you don't think it's ever going to pull back, I wish you luck with your trading career, because you are going to be crushed at some point. And who knows if this is the top in it, but at some point, all stocks are meant to be traded in position size and position side accordingly. The more something is up, the less you own of it. That's just how it goes. You have to take profits, or the market will take them at some month, some year, some time. However, position sizing, trading around a core position, that really can leverage and help you keep, again, I like to add, like, say if I had here, let's do a hypothetical. We talked about Apple breaking a downtrend here in green with volume, and it shot up. If you had been a long-term owner of Apple, and say you sold some up here because you thought it may have been a head and shoulder top, say you sold half, covered call, whatever, and then you saw this breakout, you could leverage this mother huge. And then when it showed a double top, you took some off. I mean, and again, or you just took some off if you took 20 points. I mean, there's lots of ways to trade around this stuff. I hope this makes sense, because people who just are always all in all the time, I mean, you just leave yourself with no plans to act when you get discounts. MicroStrategy, again, Bitcoin, it's got to hold up. There's really not much to say. We're going to blast through all these tech names. They just absolutely getting shit canned. Roblox making lower lows. RIVN today, I think they came out with their earnings. Lower lows. Tesla, I mean, if you sold at 1200 and change when we recommended, we said this is like the start of the blow off here, because you get chop nice and chop up, and then boom, the blow off, like just like in the down move, the puke at the end. This is the blow off chase. And those double dojis, we talked about it. Then we talked about when Elon talked. I mean, again, check out the videos, the recaps from November. I don't want to buy this. I just don't, man. Look at the monthly. We're at the channel lows. Is it possible that this thing breaks the channel lows? I mean, it's been channeling up since, you do the math, 60s, 300, I don't know. I mean, whatever area you want to start, but this thing went on a monster run. Is it possible it could go lower? I mean, wait till they do a secondary and Elon says, hey, I'm buying shares. Then you can buy it. That's how I would look at it. If not, just lay off of it. PENN, we talked about this thing needing to hold. You might have a head and shoulders bottom here. I mean, it tried to do it down here. I mean, you could argue. Let me see if I can steal this, all of this, and just say, there's your head, and here's your right shoulder. If this is a head and shoulders bottom, maybe it's about to go. Keep it that simple. Don't overthink it. See what happens. UTHR. Whew, wide and loose today. However, we made a lower low and ripped back up. This is a inside like wild day. I mean, it's holding some areas that are interesting to me. Again, you can see this area, say around 160s. This could be a blowout bottom day. I would just be aware. We talked about having, like, don't buy it until it broke the channel. Well, you broke the channel down. You did not break over the top of it, and now it's just pulling back. I would keep this on your radar. EXPI, man, every time you get into 22s, this is a gift. Again, zoom out to the monthly. I think it's going to hold here. And worst case scenario, if it doesn't, you stop out. But the risk, to me, is worth the reward. Let's end it with the oil names, because I'm not technically an oil bear, but I would not be surprised if oil pulls back after the last couple days. And we've talked about this. We said if you bought 113, you could break out. Well, nice action. You broke out 113, got up to 132. High and tight's fine. Let it chop. ExxonMobil, this is hard because I see a big ass broadening pattern. I'm not saying that you should go out and short ExxonMobil or sell all of your position, but it's gone on a monster run. The ABC pattern's been completed up. I would love to see it in the 70s. That's all. All right. Well, if you got questions, again, please stop by the Discord room. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe. Check out the educational videos, the live trade alerts. Always here to help. Check us out on Twitter. Check us out on the website, whatever. I mean, Discord room, come on by. Again, if you really need help and you're not just asking for help just to ask for help, like you want to learn, this is a good place to start. Talk to you guys and gals later. Have a great weekend. Thanks for watching. For more trading knowledge and insight, click on the videos on the right, and also join the Discord room. Link is in the description below. If you have any questions, please stop on by the Discord room and let's chat. Thank you.